Start recording. Good. So topics. This explain. We have demos. I know from Sipke. Who else? Who's got some demos? Nobody. Just Sipke. Topics. We have harvest sessions. I will show what we have so far. And have some questions, and you can also suggest things. We have the website updates. We have, I can give you some bit on the gallery. What else? Status. I will start with it as usual. Nothing else. Good. So status. Let's see. If it starts. I clicked. Lots of work from everyone. 7 days ago we talked about it updating JSON 7.0, and Daniel also updated all the web configs to remove a warning from Visual Studio about that. Added missing P. This was not actually PDF, this was PDB files. Then Thursday there was some pull requests merged. This is from me, a fix on how the search fields are exported. This is from me. This one is to create an identity provider for identity resolver for username, because users are exporting with their own identity, which is a username, as in export identity, and we need a specific resolver to be able to find quicker if a username or if a user already exists or not when you import them. And this work is based on, most of what I've done on this branch is based on the gallery work I've been doing, because I imported all the users from the current gallery. I saw some issues and performance issues also for the import, so now we have a resolver which is very simple to do, and I've done more. This is also on 19x. This is extending the default content handler with new methods like importing, imported, exporting, and exported, which actually just let us do, let me show you that. No, not that. Where is that? Where is it? Oh, this one. On importing, on imported. So when you are in a handler, in the constructor of the handler, you can do on importing and pass a lambda. This was missing from the previous code. And I've added more also after this, removing an empty folder, missing content, and same thing for the restored and restoring. We had destroyed and destroying, but we didn't have restored and restoring. And actually I discovered those. I didn't remember that we had those. Sipke added them when he did the, or maybe it was Zoltan. Sipke / Zoltan about the cloning and also the audit tray maybe. Don't remember.
That was yeah, audit trail, and there was a feature to permanently remove content items from the recycle bin. But that UI has been removed, but the API is still there.
Okay. Yeah, and I updated also some code related to that. You will see later. So this one is to fix a possible bug when you Well, there is a two steps, so you just need to care about this position. I've reverted those or change. The idea is that when we cancel a transaction, I am disposing the session, so it creates a new one after that. Otherwise, the session could be flushed by some other code. So if the transaction is cancelled, the session is disposed. And then the next call to renew or to create a new transaction is creating a new session if necessary. Because I saw some don't flush a session if it has been, or don't flush a transaction if it has been cancelled or something like that, or if an exception was thrown, and this was because of that. Then this one is, where is that? Indexing commands. Oh, it's just to, yes, when we call create index from a command, if the index is already existing, it's not deleting it. Okay, it just does nothing. If you say create index and the index is already created, it's just a no-op. And I write a message, the specified index already exists, or a new index has been created. The issue I had is inside the recipe, I had a create index with the specific name, and if I would run the recipe 2 times, it will delete the index and delete all my index entries. So updating indexing task when content is imported or restored. What is that? Yeah, I refactored it. There were like overloads with remove content context, update content context, create content context, and they would all call the same method here. So I just did one with the base class, which is content context base. Just refactoring, very simple. Adding debug log in the search, in the data recipe, just here, just in case there is an issue when you import a content item. Now you know which content item failed to import. I don't know how it's related to the recipe changes that is on the dev branch too, but it merged correctly. This is a branch that I created with a pull request. We haven't rehashed it. We can talk about it Thursday. On Thursday, the idea is that the datetime relative shape was not creating relative datetimes for more than a week. So if you go over 1 week, in 1 week or 1 week ago, it will display the full datetime, Monday, October 7th, something like that. So I changed it to make it really relative, like 1 week ago or in 1 week or 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and so on. Okay, it's a pull request. We can talk about it. You can comment on it if you want. I haven't pulled it until everyone agrees. My idea was, while working on the gallery, I look a lot at NPM. Apparently, I'm not the only one to look a lot at NPM. I saw some other galleries with the same design. If you look at that, you see this version published 2 months ago, which, okay, I know it's 2 months ago. If I give you the date, like, oh, Monday, March the 4th, well, okay, no, I just need to know it's 2 months ago or 5 years ago, which is the case for lots of gallery items we have. So I was like, okay, maybe we need to change the date time relative shape to be really relative even for years and months. So please comment on that if you agree or don't agree.
Sebastian, one question on that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's possible to make the shape such that it can also render the actual date and time as maybe like a tooltip, so that when you hover over it, you can see the actual date and time. That's
okay. So it's this one just returns a text, I think. So this one is just a text. It's no HTML. So there might be another one to create, which is, and actually I'm sure it already exists. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we could have a shape which renders a tag, a datetime tag with a tooltip and everything. We can, but
I'm pretty sure we already had code that was formatting dates this way.
Yes, we have other shapes. Let's look at it. Yes, but yes, if we need more data to change in the HTML shape, yeah, why not? Maybe in the same class actually. I have to check, or maybe it's another view. I don't remember, but we have something like that. Or maybe we have something like this just in the admin. We have to check. This one is a pull request merge from Planet Claire, which is adding a missing widget activity. So there is actually a generic handler which will trigger workflow activities based on the activity event name, but because the activity didn't exist, this specific event was not created, so the change is just about creating an activity class for user login failed. So if you want your workflow to trigger when a user login has failed. This one is auto-enable dependencies, which was merged. There are multiple changes on this one because it was breaking some scenario, but it's merged now. So the idea is from Sipke, when you have a feature which is enabled and working fine, then you update, let's say, Orchard, and this feature requires another one, Orchard will automatically enable this other one feature. Otherwise, it will break the upgrade. So it's resolving all the dependencies and enabling them if the dependencies needs to be enabled automatically. There are some other ongoing pull requests related to that, but that's fine. This is a pull request adding an item edit links with an overload taking HTML attributes, and actually so it's in 19x. If we merge 19x to dev, which I did, it actually existed already in the dev branch, so I removed this one then in the dev branch. So both branches have that. This one is processing tasks, background tasks in delayed tasks, the processing engine in the background task, right?
Why does this need to be in the host?
Oh, I think I closed it. Why is it merged? I think that's the issue. Let me see. We talked about it during the meeting, and we say no, this is not what we should have. Crap.
I think it shouldn't be in the.
Yeah, I think we made a mistake. Okay, I will look at it. Because I commented on a pull request saying, we talked about it. Well, okay, I will fix it. This one about an update on the shape so that you can test the nullability of a property, even if there is no property.
Nice.
Jean-Thierry has been very active recently. This one, fixing variable name and using display name instead of the technical name for fields in diverse locations. That's good. This one I checked and it works. This is to fix a blank line at the bottom of the theme machine. I checked this is the only way to fix it and it works, so I took it. This is revert from a previous change on the transaction manager. I talked about the dispose session, so I just kept the dispose session 9. This is a fix on taxonomies. I don't remember the pull request. I don't remember what it was for, but it was valid. I don't remember. We should look at the pull request. This one is to fix a blocking bug on 19x, fixing HTTP request base.
Why is this in a module?
This is in the MVC module.
Yeah, that's
which defines the HTTP context base class. You know, the fake HTTP context. This is where it's built, and this is where it has to go.
Seems odd that we're doing resolution inside the AutoFac module.
So it might trigger a bigger discussion about all these changes related to HTTP context that we've done the last 2 weeks and all the bugs we have found, all because of a change. And we'll talk about it later, but there is the option that we revert all the changes related to that, because it's just issuing more and more bugs. Just to fix one bug, we have 10 more bugs. So maybe we'll revert everything related to that and fix the first bug in a different way. We can talk about it later if we have time. But okay. It's that this thing, the shape tracer you will see later. Now the migration can't resolve HTTP context or work context. Now there is another one like this. It's just growing and growing the number of issues we've been having like that. So maybe we have to revert everything and take the time to fix the first issue in a different, not in a good way, because it was a good way, but it's adding more issues than it's solving. So we have to go back in time, probably. Fix issue, added parameter workflow. Yeah, this one is a kind of a new feature. The idea is that when you have existing workflows running, workflow instances, and you want to delete a workflow definition, it will tell you that you have existing workflows running, and you will have the choice to either delete them or keep them alive and delete your definition or update your definition. So you can say yes, no, cancel. Like, do you want to delete your workflows or not? And we confirm that clear is deleting all the instances of the collection if the collection has a cascade all delete on that. There was another bug open to that, and we fixed it. Well, we've closed the bugs with the explanation. Fix broken setup due to an enabling feature. Yes, the auto enable resolution is case sensitive. So if you had an issue with the case sensitivity here in the list of dependencies, it will break it. So I fixed it this way. Actually, Sipke fixed it this way. I fixed it again later because of the merge, but I think Jean-Thierry submitted a PR so that this resolution is case insensitive, like all other resolutions we have in Orchard. So this will be fixed the correct way later. PR is pending. Yeah, this was a temporary fix because the setup was broken on dev, and then this one was the correct fix, which was removing a non-necessary dependency. I don't want to explain why. It's complex. Trust us. Revert fixed broken setup. Yeah. So this is reverting the temporary fix from Sipke once this one has been correctly fixed. Yep. This one is merging 19x into dev, so all the changes we've been doing in 19x are now in dev, all the bug fixes. And new little features, removing unnecessary usings, so just cleaning. Fixing duplicate overload, this is the merge which added the same item editing overload. Fixing namespace case, this is I already explained. Fixing Visual Studio warnings and web config files. Yes, when I was building, this one will complain, so I removed that because actually it doesn't exist and it's working everywhere.
Does that work through IIS? You need to set two sites up in IIS and see if that works. That's why that exists.
Okay, please try it if you know what to do, and then I will revert if necessary. I don't know what you're meaning. Two sites in IIS, what do you mean? Two tenants, two websites?
Yeah, two websites. Sometimes either, I think, underneath the same virtual path, and they end up sharing the same things. You just need to be a bit careful. That's why those clears exist, so that you don't end up with another site trying to insert host, for example.
Okay. So I will look back in the story. Maybe we commented on that and explained that. I will look back.
But I think if that's the case, then there's probably many other things too that would need to be reset.
It may be an old thing, but I just remember seeing this from before, and that's why the removes were there.
But apparently the remove tag is not understood. So
I think that's a bug in the schema and the XSD for this file, because the remove tag is actually supported
in section group.
In runtime, yeah, but I think it's the XSD for this.
It's per tag here, so if section group doesn't have that, you see here section is not add something and remove and clear, it's section.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure this one is
neither IIS Express nor IIS complains at that element, so I think it is supported. Otherwise, you would get an error.
I see what you mean. Okay. Maybe I should try with a foo tag just to see what it does. Okay.
But I still think it's correct what you've done to remove it, because if you're hosting applications underneath other applications, I think it's like a very weird.
Well, those ones are in modules actually, so you don't have. These are the leaves of the web configs. There can't be another one under, because it's a module.
Yeah, true.
Oh, I changed it also in the main one actually. So maybe the main one might make sense if you say based on what you say, Nick. But the modules.
It's based on your machine config or your application host config, maybe, or something like that. Maybe I can't remember.
Okay, but if
whatever the parent config is,
look, even
if that has it as well, then it will blow up.
But these config files have no runtime effect anyway. They're just there for Visual Studio's benefits.
Yes, I was thinking it might be.
Web one does.
Yeah, maybe. So I was thinking these ones might be for the IntelliSense, and it still worked after that. So maybe it was an old version of Visual Studio which didn't work. So I'm like, okay, we don't need that anymore. But the main one, maybe. So we have to validate it still works in the.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Shape designer bug, the one that I've been forced to assign to myself by Daniel, has been fixed, but this new bug was again added with the same issues of the HTTP context resolution in the constructors. So here it's like I need to get it per call, but it doesn't make sense because shape tracing is an I dependency. So it should be resolved per call automatically, but no, I have to do it. So there's something weird, and it's causing lots of issues. We maybe have to revert everything which is related to that. Again, this is the actual. No, this is another one. Wrong properties assigned, used, and I checked, and we are really using ID and label since the change we did for workflow localization. Jeff, this is the one we already merged. This one was so it's funny because it's a bug which was open last week, and both Benedek and I got the same bug also on the same day, and we fixed it also both on the same day, but I won. So he had to change something. The idea is that when you do a read query with the search API and your read query has more than 1024 Boolean queries, then it will fail on Lucene because this is the maximum that you can have. So the read queries, so actually the delete, which are using Boolean queries like this, are now paged. So if you do a delete with lots of documents, delete like 1 million documents, it will do it per page of 1024. I was doing 50 because I like 50, but actually Benedek fixed it by using the constant, which is the maximum that you can do. So now it's more 50, it's a page count, you will see. Well, it's a batch count or Boolean count, we'll see. And just batching the Boolean clauses to do the delete. You don't care, usually. You care only if you rebuild an index which has more than 1024 documents. And in the gallery, there are more than that. Remove the necessary feature from setup context. Thank you. It's always good to remove unnecessary features from the setup context. Lucene should page operation with this is the one from Benedek. So you see instead of using 50, it's using a constant max close count, which could change in the future. Composition strategy from Jean-Thierry. Oh, this is the one making it case insensitive, so we won't have the issue. And also not only making that, but if the feature is not found at startup, it will tell you that the feature is not, which feature was not found, instead of telling you, well, you are missing a feature. Good luck. This is the merge, refactoring import modules. Yeah, I don't know why. When I started that, I was like, it will take me 2 hours, and it took me 2 hours. But because I did a new import, well, I was doing a new driver and I need to do some imports. I wanted to use, where is that? Why isn't it everywhere? What is that? Or maybe I did 2 commits? Oh, probably. Okay. First commit, this one. Don't do anything if the tag is not specified. So this is interesting actually. When you implement importing and you import a content item, all of the importing methods from every driver will be called. Okay? But it makes sense usually, well, most of the time, 99.99% of the time, it only makes sense to call the importing method only on the parts that you have if the tag is present. Like, let's say you have the body part tag in your recipe, you need to execute the body part import, but you don't need to execute the tag import. So here I updated every one of them if it made sense, and it makes sense for most of them, to only run the code if, for instance, in the containable part driver, if you have the containable part tag in your content item of the recipe. Otherwise, don't do anything, which will prevent looking for the tag and the attribute. It's just something. Because actually the common part or the container, one of them had an issue, this one. This one has an issue, which is it's running on everything and it's reassigning the owner if there is no tag. But I didn't have a tag for this because I didn't want to change anything from that. So it was actually adding some false information. So I fixed the issue here. Then I didn't push another one. Oh yes, by the way, I also updated all the check if the attribute exists, and if the attribute exists, then parse and assign. I'm using the extension method which does that automatically, import attribute, and you pass a lambda which is executed only if the attribute exists. So it's more cleaner code. And I did that everywhere because well, if I do it, let's do it everywhere. And this is what took me 2 hours. I'm like, why did I start it? Crazy. This one, fixing projection from Lombic. I didn't see it. It's new.
No. That's I think it's an error on export and import, that whole -1 thing.
It's why do you say it's an error? It's by design. I decided to use -1, meaning there is nothing. Because 0 means
when it exports 0. It doesn't export -1.
No, it exports 0.
Oh, then when it imports, it doesn't import -1. There's an import-export bug for that -1 thing.
So what is it fixing here? Fixing that projection elements with the default layout selected weren't exported. Oh, okay. Yes, it should be -1 instead of default. I thought it was the other way around. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You see, so it's checking. Oh, is it -1? Yes, then do nothing. Or no, set -1 because there is nothing to do. Okay. Well, we'll trust these guys. They know our thread. It's on 19x. It's just in the export or in the import. I don't see it. It's in the exporting. So that's safe. That's safe. They must have, yeah, okay. Trust them. Fix the potential value factory attempted to access the value property of the instance issue. This. You see? It's so fucked up. Another one related to the same issue.
Where did all of these issues begin?
When Sipke fixed the background task which could not have HTTP context. You remember we talked about
started when we started using Orchard on Visual Studio 2015, and then nothing would work. You would see instantly. You would see a yellow screen of death.
No, this. Oh, I don't remember that. I have never seen that. But CQ, we're not complaining about your change. We said it's a good.
Oh
change.
No, I know.
But it seems because we talked about it last week. You were not present, but we looked at the change you made, and I could not understand what it was doing. Changing all the touching the thread static, the concurrent dictionaries, static concurrent. It was crazy code, and we trust you. But since then, we've had some HTTP context resolution issues. After this commit, after this commit, in the migrations, in the shape factory, in the background tasks, everywhere you want to inject a work context now, you want to resolve a work context, there are issues.
Not everywhere, really, everywhere?
Sorry.
Because I know about
I'm French, I'm exaggerating, but we've seen like 4 or 5 of them issues. And another one, this one I'm sure is related. You see the HTTP context accessor.
No, this is a recursion issue, which is unrelated to the registration. It just happens to be with the HTTP context accessor, so it's kind of related, but it's a different issue.
Maybe because some new code we added recently. Because of the.
No, you will only see this if you use this in a specific scenario, which we're not doing in Orchard. But I saw this with a customer code who is using some handler and then using HTTP context accessor, and then it needs to resolve itself. So it's accessing HTTP context accessor again, and it would cause a infinite loop, but that's protected because of the.
So here you protect it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So.
And this is from a background task.
Okay.
Yeah, you see it's the HTTP context placeholder.
Yes, and this code that we change and resolve stuff, and is it the same? No, this is not the same class, but.
But regarding that original change that you made, did we ever figure out why it was running so well on 2013?
Never figured it out. If we figured it out, then all my changes can be undone.
Oh wait, you mean you changed your change is to fix something which was because of Visual Studio 2015? That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I see.
And Sebastian, I remember you said you saw something similar where
For me it was different. It was on the SpecFlow test. I fixed something in the SpecFlow test which was related to lambda expressions and remoting and delegate serialization.
I think it's the same underlying issue because the thing that Sipke changed is also related to lambdas and closures and something that the Roslyn compilers need to do differently.
And my fix was very simple. It was a hack, but it fixed it, so I was like very happy. It's just removing the lambda and calling a static method instead.
Yeah.
It was just about it. So if we can revert your code, Sipke, and repro the issue, then fix it with just a static method instead of a lambda, go for it. and it might be a bug it's probably a bug in .NET 4.6.
Yeah, we can do that, but there's a bunch of commits that needs to be tracked down.
Yeah, it's easy to revert commits.
So, Sebastian, I don't think it has to do with .NET 4.6 though, because we were running 4.5.1 at the time. It's only an issue with it depending on which compiler you're compiling it with, whether it's Roslyn or the other one.
Well, no, are you sure? So you think it's a Roslyn bug, maybe a Roslyn optimization?
No, the way that we saw it was that Roslyn was doing it correctly, but it's like the issue is with the old compiler. Actually, I think I wasn't involved very closely, but I remember you said that, Sipke, that you could understand when you stepped through it on Roslyn why it was not working, but you couldn't understand why it was working on the old one.
Yeah.
So we only use Roslyn for the views, though.
I'm not sure we are using it for the views so far. We have never made a change.
We're only using it for views. We're not using it for dynamic compilation.
We are not even using it for views.
It's the other way around. We're not using it for views, but we're using it for everything that gets compiled into the bin.
Yes.
The DLL file.
That uses the old build manager in ASP.NET.
Yes, we have not updated it to the Roslyn build manager.
Oh,
sure, there is an open bug.
So we're not even compiling it compile time, so to speak. Yeah,
Orchard uses Roslyn, but Orchard doesn't.
Yes.
But not even for the core assemblies, like framework?
No.
Or?
Nope.
Well, if you build with 2015, it's using Roslyn.
Well, yeah.
And maybe that's the issue.
Yeah, that's what we were doing.
So it's easier for 6 or easier for Roslyn. And but if we have a good repro, maybe we should call someone from the framework and say, hey, look at that. It works with 2013. It doesn't work with 2015. Fix it. Well, they are happy to.
Repro. We'll just check out one of the older commits, and then.
I just have 2015 now, but if you use the same commit, you give me the commit number, and you just download the same commit and build with 2013, build with 2015, run them in parallel, and you show it's the user screen, I'm sure we can go to someone and give it to them.
Okay.
They will be happy to find
another thing, when we reproduced this the first time, the reason we fixed it was we were running a VS 2015 preview, so they might have changed Roslyn since then. So maybe this fix is no longer.
Maybe it's no longer needed. Crazy. Yeah, please try it. If you can't repro the bug with 2015, then we will revert everything. We'll refork 19x based on master and start again. Okay, good. Done for status. Long status because lots of work. That's good. I remember a few months back, some week there would be only one commit. Who's working on this project? Okay, I updated the website. Just a quick note. I did many updates. Orchardproject.net. I put the banner here for Harvest. Click, it's beautiful. Banner here. What else? Oh, the discussion. Yeah, what did I do? Newsletter, Harvest banners. Okay, discussions page. I updated it with all the good links for many reasons. First, the mailing list which existed and we haven't used for a long time was actually not working anymore. I tried and it was not working, so I removed all the links. I also created a newsletter subscription page. Please follow this link to subscribe to a newsletter. So it's a newsletter is different than a mailing list. A mailing list, anyone could send to everyone, okay, and some will be bothered by that. But because it was not working, nobody was bothered by that anymore. So a newsletter is more like push. We as the newsletter owner will push information to all the recipients. It can be security, it can be conference, it can be new versions, things like that. But we will push it, and people will be able to unsubscribe very easily. And I'm using MailChimp for now. So please register to that. The open question I have for the community and probably for the steering committee is should we add all gallery users to the newsletter automatically and send them an email saying we have added you to the newsletter, please click on this link if you don't want to be on the newsletter. I'm targeting the gallery users only because if you build a gallery module, and you publish it on the gallery, you care about Orchard. So I assume you might want to be on the newsletter. I'm doing that because we lost all the mailing list subscribers by losing the mailing list. What do you think? Is it reasonable? Not reasonable?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable a lot because, like you say, if they build modules, they are interested in Orchard and they can always unsubscribe.
Who thinks it's not reasonable and would not like to be in this new? Well, and we'll send you an email saying we registered you. Please click here to unsubscribe.
Why do we need a newsletter at all?
To contact people for security issues, to push information, new releases, announce for the Harvest. Because today when we want to communicate, like for Harvest, we tweet and we put on a website. So, and as you say, not everyone follows Twitter or goes on the website every month because
even less people will be on that mailing list.
Well, maybe you want to. It's another way.
I agree that we should have a way to reach out to for running websites, but that doesn't sound to me like it's the right medium to do that. That's why we created the advisory on the dashboard actually.
And if you want to say, oh, there is a new version, or PS Harvest.
Always put new versions
there. Or we are calling for elections.
Well, Harvest is not critical. I mean, you can
elections.
Twitter is fine for that. Elections, this is where it should be announced, and the forums. I think. I don't think it needs to be on a newsletter. I'm pretty much convinced that no one cares about that newsletter. No one will subscribe to it. I mean,
I see the other way around. Okay.
So obsolete.
But what is good with newsletter is you don't have to subscribe to it if you think you don't need that. Like Twitter is just a way for people to register. Okay, I don't want Twitter. I don't want forums.
That's my opinion. I think
send me an email.
It's a waste of time, but well.
Some other people are voicing opinions in the chat, so that's...
Sorry, yeah. You should talk. I don't read that. So what do they say? Can you summarize? Or should I read everything?
Maybe if there is content, actually, I would love a monthly newsletter. I think that's interesting feedback.
Yes.
If we had something to say, well, maybe.
Like the new features, what we fixed, and why, and things like that. What we.
So, Toby, you just nominated yourself to write that newsletter.
Who is Toby? Oh, here, I'm not there yet. I think newsletter is a good idea. You don't always log into your admin panel if the client doesn't. This email seems reasonable to use. Why not we? And it's opt-in, so monthly newsletter, gallery newsletter. Yeah, that could be an idea. Also, focus on new websites, new galleries to prove that there is community active and alive. Well, Orchard is alive and yep,
activity in general.
Yep. Okay. Toby. That's how we work in Orchard. We how do we say that? We decide. You suggested you wanted to do that. Okay. So let's assume we have a newsletter and we'll use it for that, what we said in the chat. Should we add the gallery users by default on the newsletter?
I'd say yes.
I'd say no.
Are you against, Bertrand, to be added to? So we add people. That's what you say. You don't want us to add them because they should. Okay. Or should we?
It seems like a different purpose. So yeah. It's opt-in. I think it should be opt-in.
But you can always opt out. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it should be opt-in. It's between opt-in and opt-out. I vote opt-in.
Maybe opting out would be a good way for people to find out about the existence of the newsletter in the first place.
That was my idea. That's why I just wanted to look at those ones because they won't care. I won't add the ones, for instance, on the website or I don't know, whatever way we have their emails.
So the reason why I'm saying opt-in is that opt-out is kind of forward, and it's even illegal in some countries.
France.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's true, actually. Personally, I would be happy to be automatically added to this newsletter because that, for me, that would be a way to find out.
I will tweet about it, about the newsletter, explaining what it does, and people will opt in. And I will adjust Sipke by default. And Nick.
Thank you. I already subscribed.
Well, you are following the tweet, so you will click on the link and register. Okay, so opt-in for legal reasons. That's what I wanted to hear. Okay, good. And then, yeah, news, modules, blog posts, releases, features, sites. We'll see. Okay, good. And we can talk actually about the content before we send at this meeting. It will take 5 minutes if people want to add something. Good. So we have three. So I will skip the gallery then because it's just update. We don't care. We have demos and harvest sessions. I will start with the harvest session. Sorry, Sipke, and end up with you, but you can go over the 1 hour. So just to let you know what we have so far in terms of sessions. Orchard, conferences, sessions. So this is the preliminary schedule. You can talk about if you agree or not with the times. We can change it. I just wanted to know how many sessions we can fit in the 2 days. And so far I have 11 sessions, including the panel/Q&A, which I think is good every year. This is the list of talks I have so far. Bertrand, I conferred with him, the .NET Foundation and the future of .NET. 1 session. Just interrupt me and say no if you don't agree. Daniel, team development on Orchard. Sipke, dynamic forms, and Sipke, layouts, because I think they are 2 important features, and there's lots of things to say about it, but 1 each. Extensibility, how to use it, and so on. Myself, I just want to do 1 session, and I have multiple ideas, but I'm not sure what you want, what we want, so I will talk offline with everyone. Nick Bertrand will do a common, the CMS of the future, which will talk about Broadchart and also how to do CMSs now with data access techniques and things like that. Gustavo will do a case study about NFL Players Association. Chris Payne will probably do Glimpse, okay, the new module he made and he showed, he demoed 2 months ago. I keep a slot. I have not heard from Zoltan or Benedek. I don't know if they are here. Are they here? No. No, not Zoltan, Benedek. Taylor Mullen from the SP.NET MVC team will talk about tag helpers in MVC6 and their relationship with how we can use shapes, or how we can use them as shapes in the next Orchard, in Broadchart. To be defined who will talk at the panel. So this makes 11, and there is 1 slot which is empty. Lombic is a question mark. I don't know, or any other session which comes in the meantime. And we have here 11 sessions of 50 minutes. I've decided to start with, and we can be talk about 2 hours for the lunch between 1 and 3, because in Spain they don't have lunch before 3 or 5, something like that. So that we'll talk about it. But the idea is to have 7 sessions per day, not to end too late. We can change, okay? Just think about it if you want to change. Just 1 keynote and the session on the second day. Build Windows, for instance, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions per day. So this is actually kind of the same. So,
Sebastian, are we going to video the session?
Yes, we will. It's part of the budget. We will, and there is no question about it, because we questioned it the first year of Harvest. There was nothing. Bertrand tried to record some things, but with his camera you can't do much. Sorry. Second year we did that at Amsterdam. It was a beautiful result from Sean, and we didn't discuss it once it was done. I asked the question last year at Redmond if we need that, and we agreed that we need it. Okay, and this year I won't even ask the question, because we already decided it last year that we need it. Do you disagree?
I think it's a great idea.
Yes, Russell, because you won't come, will you?
If they're balking at the budget, and we've already got some time constraints here. So
don't worry, we understand. So it will be recorded, and I actually contacted Sean from Amsterdam if we could do that, because the result was great. I think everyone will agree on that. So that's it. So please ping me offline if you have questions, comments, want to suggest some things. That's good. Sipke, go on. I make you a presenter if you're not yet. And I will stop presenting.
Okay. What is my? This is my primary monitor. Okay, so this is well. Let me paste in the issue, or actually, you can see it on the screen. It's it was a ticket about the ability to add widgets to layouts. We didn't have that, so based on the discussion on this thread, I figured maybe we should see how it works. And so what I did, I implemented a new element harvester, which generates elements based on the widget content types. So here's a new section. As you can see, these are all the widget types in the system, and now you can just add elements, add these widgets as elements. So what you see here is actually a widget editor. You can enter a title. In this case, this is a menu widget, and as you can see, it asks for a zone and a layer. In this GitHub issue, we are discussing what to do with that. And actually, there was a suggestion to just hide this in this editor, to hide zone and layer and just select the default one. But the downside of this approach is that you will, as you start adding widget elements to your layouts, you will see the list of widgets growing in the widgets screen. I'll show you in a second. Let's just add this guy here. Oh, I didn't test this one. Let's try another HTML widget. Maybe I broke it. No, title cannot be empty.
That's a model form.
Yeah, yep. So I fixed that's a bummer. Sorry about this. I didn't know about this issue. Anyway, you can imagine all sorts of elements here, and then the downside is on this widget screen you would see in the disabled layer also all the widgets created by those elements, and that's not very nice. And so one solution we could do is maybe make the layer part or the layer property on a widget part not be required to be a layer part, but maybe it could be any content item, so that the layer could, for example, be the layout or the page content item or whatever content item you're using layouts for, or just leave it null, make it optional, so that it at least wouldn't appear in the widget screen. So that is one suggestion I have to fix that issue. Actually, that's the only issue. Other than that, it will just work beautifully. What we'll also see, what we see in this discussion on GitHub is there's a question from someone about why not merge to, or maybe even use layouts all the way. So get rid of widgets and use layouts for everything. And in principle, we could, but there's currently one issue that
when you mean layouts, you mean elements?
Yeah, exactly. Elements, I should say elements. But the issue is, of course, for example, on the login screen, you'll have a menu widget currently, and that works because widgets aren't tied to content items, and layouts are at this point, and elements are added to layouts. So you can't just use elements everywhere unless we refactor the widgets module.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, not to have this notion of element and widget, but have the notion of something which can be used with layers or with layouts.
Yeah, exactly. So that is suggested here in this thread.
The same way Bertrand would suggest, say, why do we have parts and fields? They should be fields, and if you just can have one, well, use one field and not a part. So that's yeah. I will not go up to have one thing which is part, fields, widgets, and elements, but at least two of them, one for fields and parts, one for widgets and elements. and maybe they will have something in common, which will be the minimum thing to create, and which will be common to everything. We don't have, but and I think that's our suggestion. I'm just quoting you, Bertrand, is to create, to talk about it at Harvest, because everyone will be there and with lots of ideas and opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
A change like that would be for version 2, obviously, where we would rethink the data model that we have and the architecture in general. So actually, we'll probably talk about that on the talk that we'll have with Nick.
Which we can make it longer if there are more topics than just that. Flexible.
Isn't that along the lines of the idea of the Descent CMS that you were working on?
Yeah, absolutely. In Descent, I have only, there aren't parts and fields, only parts that are really fields, and it's all just objects. So elements would actually also be instances of those same entities. So it's all same.
I think in this, for this implementation that you've done, City, where we're probably shooting for something before the 2.0 timeline, it seems kind of hackish to reuse widgets in this way, where they would show up sort of in both places. I'm wondering if maybe the integration could be on the part level rather than the widget level, because really, when you think about it, a widget is just an item, a content type really with a specific stereotype that has a part that contains all of the rendering and the logic for the widget, right? So maybe there's a way to integrate the part, but not the whole widget.
What parts? Are you talking about the widget part?
No, whatever part that defines the behavior of the widget.
I get what you're saying, but so from a functional standpoint, it doesn't really work because that's not what people would want. But I see how it makes sense. So maybe when you harvest the widgets, maybe you recreate some structure that mimics the widget, but you don't really use the widget itself. But then how do you do the editor?
You need all parts because widgets are content types, so they are extensible, composable, so you can add more parts to that, which is a feature you want. So really what you want is use elements and be able to position content basically anywhere, and that's why widgets was invented, I imagine. And currently elements, they aren't composable, they're just, atomic. And having a way to position content items on a canvas or on a layout, I think that makes sense. But whether we reuse widgets for that?
It's just one of the parts doesn't make sense to have there, the widget part itself. Like, if you could somehow recreate the widget type, but leave out the widget part. Just have the rest.
That would be better, but the downside is that Zoltan made that argument. He, for example, has hundreds of widgets, and it would be nice if he could reuse those widgets. But I agree with you that better implementation would be to have a type or stereotype, which I also proposed in the discussion on GitHub, to have a different stereotype. So that because the end goal is to be able to position content on the layout. So yes, it's kind of hackish to use reuse widget, but it's also sort of nice to be able to just use it out of box, even if it's temporary.
So when the content manager rebuilds the widget from the database, it assembles the parts. What would happen if we omitted the widget part at this moment? So you would still have a content item. All the parts would hopefully work the same because they shouldn't depend on the presence of the widget part.
And
only
I think
the widget part is. It seems like all the problems are coming from the widget part being there.
Yes,
so.
Exactly. So you're saying dynamically remove them from the content item being loaded?
Yeah, maybe it would require some extensions in the content manager itself, but maybe that's something worth exploring. So we would be changing more the process of rebuilding the content item more.
We would take what we need, and basically that's everything but widget parts.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. That's what I was trying to say before.
Yeah, great then.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll look into that.
Good.
Okay. Other than that, what we need to take into account, of course, is when we remove an element, it needs to also delete the associated widget content item. And yeah, that's it that I have on my list. Other than that, it will work. It will look nice.
So this mechanism, we view it as sort of the backward compatibility things for stuff that are widgets, but not necessarily elements yet, right? Because
that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Because as a reminder,
elements. There's a bunch of duplication now where some things are both widgets and elements, and now they can both be used in the layout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ideally you would. Well, currently you can use. Yeah, that's one example. That's now implemented as an element as well as a widget, and we could actually replace or remove the projection widget or design it to take advantage of the element wrapper. No, what is it? Something element wrap part. I think that's the part. So you can use an element and turn that into a widget, and then because it's a widget, you can attach more parts to it.
Quick question: can an element render multiple shapes?
Yes. Yeah, okay. it's like the parts. Actually, Bertrand blogged about it. It's
but I didn't see that. Yeah. I don't remember that. I read
and
the
it should
article.
Be added to the
so yeah, I
homepage.
I wrote on the chat if you want to read the idea to merge widgets and elements, what concepts they share. But you can do it later. But yes, if elements also render shapes, we don't need widgets. And okay.
Yeah, just the way, as you mentioned, just a way to associate them with layers and zones, because that's what we need as well. We need to be able to associate like widgets. You need to be able to drop elements into zones and associate them with layers. But that's yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, then that's the end. Any other question? I saw someone asking for looking into a bug /PR. We do it on Thursday. Shoot me an email if you want me, if you can't join.
Yes, just one thing. The gallery domain thing that.
Oh yes, yes. So, does anyone know about the domain orchardgallery.net, and if you use that, or if you think we should use it? Today we are using gallery.orchardproject.net. I think that's fine. Do we need orchardgallery.net? I don't think so. Nobody disagrees.
See the need for it. One URL is just as good as another.
Okay. Good. Done? Bertrand, that answers? Well, the
question in the chat.
Yeah, Nick wanted to.
Oh yeah, Sebastian, I said on there that for Brochard, I put Brochard onto MyGet, so people can use it from their applications.
Okay, cool. You'll show it next week?
I
how to do that?
A link in the window.
What it makes, what it allows you to do. Yeah, so we'll see. I see other questions. Gustavo, we can have elements with different content permission. Can a layout have elements with different content permission? No, because the layout is a content item and the elements are part of the content item. Well, technically you could have it, but there is no notion of a part to an element, which then that's weird. Okay, good. Don't forget the gitter.im chat. Some people go there more often. And that's it. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.